Hey yo, what's up, people? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Property Wealth. My name is Joel Mutombo. Today I will be talking about the different challenges that comes with property. There's been a lot of things about currently coronavirus and all this blah blah blah. I don't want to focus on that. Look, because the coronavirus, I haven't even, could even get trim or anything. Man, it's all bushy because of coronavirus. I couldn't even go to a barber. So today, we're going to forget about all that, talking about challenges that I've encountered, going through properties, depending on which deals you're doing. But I will talk about some of the challenges that comes with it and how I managed to overcome those challenges. So if you like what I will be talking about, stick around and I shall see y'all soon, y'all. Peace out. Yes. Welcome back, good people. Before going into my topic, I just want to say thank you to all the fans out there, people that's been listening to my topics. Thank you to you guys. I finally reached over 1,000 views on one of the videos I first posted. This is not even 2 weeks ago. I posted my first video on how to create quick passive income. It had received a lot of buzz, a lot of positive comments from people. Thank you guys. Keep watching, keep commenting, keep being active. The second video I posted recently, the fourth video I posted recently, how to maximize profit through this, interest rate market crash. That's also reaching almost 1,000K. At the moment is almost 735 views. Only like 3 days I posted it. So that's all thanks to you guys. I can't, I lack words to show my appreciations. Many people don't wait for months to get this kind of views, especially that I'm only just starting new on YouTube. It's all thanks to you guys. So I really appreciate that. Keep liking, keep watching, keep commenting, keep subscribing, because to help the YouTube algorithm. So you guys need to subscribe. The subscribe is more coming, but we still need more. We still need more. So yeah, keep appreciating. Anyway, we can put that to the side. Now, as I said, I will be talking about the different challenges that comes with property investing. The challenges that I, especially encountered during, these 5 years of investing in property since 2015. Yes, property is good. Property is, it creates passive income, it makes you financially free. There's a lot of good side. Property is one of the best investment out there. Anyway, that's what I think. So most people say different things. But for me, in terms of if you're looking for a quick passive income and, you don't want to be, there's a choice where you don't have to be hands-on. Not a lot of properties, not a lot of investment offer those luxuries like property investing, because you can completely be hands off and just relax and get your money every month. There's that choice. I'm gonna go into that. Right, one of the biggest for me challenges once when it comes to dealing with properties is the management side. The first property I had, obviously I got it since 2015. One of the biggest challenge that I encountered, especially when buying a new home, I would tell people, if you're buying a property for whether investing or living, make sure please that you do your checkings properly. I did, most of the checking was right. However, I did not know. I wish somebody had told me, check the boiler. Because guys, if there's something that can rinse out your money, is the boiler. So I bought my property, everything was fine. I had it bargain. Literally, I didn't, within short period of moving in, fixed quite a few things, boom, started renting it out. So whilst renting it out, I think after about 2 months, after 2 months, I was at home sleeping, 6 a.m. in the morning. I was literally about to get ready to wake up for work, to go to work. One of the tenants messages me. The boiler's broken down, the hot water's not working. I just thought, oh my lord, what's happening? I've recently just bought this property. Why isn't the boiler working? Why isn't the hot water working? So, I told him to go check the boiler, try to, fidget around with the buttons and see if, anything will happen. Also look on YouTube, boiler issues and how they can fix it, because I was quite far. I couldn't attend there myself to in order to to look at it. So the tenants managed to check around, look at things, but unfortunately was unable to fix the issue. So what they had to do on that day is they had to boil water in the kettle, in order to shower, which was quite, throughout my period of being a landlord, that's one of the time where I felt that was one of the biggest challenges, because I felt bad. This was in winter, don't forget. Thank God the heating was working. It was just the hot water that wasn't working. So imagine in winter, cold ice, you want to wake up to go work, and you want to shower and the water's cold. Like, can you imagine how hurtful that is for tenants and even for me as a landlord? So I went to work, but I had to contact an emergency service, one of the emergency 24-hour boiler breakdowns, to go and check out, the boiler, what was wrong with it. Contacted them whilst I was at work on my break around 2 p.m. They managed to go home. So on my break, I also went home to see what job they were doing. They managed to fix it. They was fidgeting around, playing around with buttons, and eventually they managed to fix the boiler. It was quite expensive. I think at that time it was probably about 400 to 500 to fix it. Everything was fine. Like 3 weeks later, another issue rise up again. The boiler broke down again. So I had to do exactly the same thing, contact the same company. They came, apparently this time it was a different issue. They managed to fix it. Everything was fine. And then another, I think after that, it was like a month again, the boiler broke down. So it became like this, cat and mice chasing back and forth. We were just going back and forth. I'll call them, they'll come, they'll fix, and the boiler will break down. Now, in about 5 or 6 occasions, I had to keep doing it until I thought, you know what? No way, I keep wasting my money. At that time, I think I had reached about 1,400 altogether, just fixing that boiler. So I managed to just, because one of the last person who came to fix the boiler said, you know what, this boiler is not worth fixing. It's an old boiler. You might as well, you're better off getting a new boiler, because with all this money you're spending, it's just useless. Eventually it's gonna break down again. We can't guarantee the safety of this boiler because it's such an old boiler. So, beside that, about 1,400 I had already spent on the old boiler, I had to spend another 4,000 on getting a new boiler, installing it and everything. So I spent about 4,000, but it was 3,800, so roughly £4,000. That was I spent a lot of money, and it was a very difficult time, because obviously in summer I wouldn't mind, but during winter, it was quite daunting, to be at home, and not knowing when the boiler is gonna break down. So guys, if you're planning to get a property to invest or a property to live, whether it's even those who are doing rent-to-rent deals, if you don't have a mortgage and you're doing the rent-to-rent or rents to, SA, rents to HMO, whichever deal you're doing, make sure, check that boiler, look at the service history, look at if there's been any breakdown, check how old is it, make sure you check this thing, because at the end of the day, these things will come and haunt you down, especially for those who are doing rent to rent. You're renting a place and you're trying to make profit out of it. Imagine, because when you're doing rent to rent, majority of the landlords will tell you that all the maintenance is in your hands. So if anything goes wrong, you'll be in charge of it. Imagine you're trying to eat off somebody and then something goes wrong. That person is not responsible. You will be responsible. Most landlords, that's what they will say. You may get the good landlords out there who will tell you not they will take charge of all the maintenance, but they're very rare. Even I wouldn't do that if I had a place. If you want to eat off my plate, you need to make sure you take responsibility, full responsibility. So that's what most landlords will say. So make sure before you agree to take any responsibility, you check these things properly, especially the boiler. Make sure you check it, because if it breaks down, it's gonna hunt you down, and you don't want that. So make sure you do that. And a lot of landlords, they wouldn't want to get their boiler off the insurance, so they will just rather go and buy a new one or take a loan and get a new one, and they wouldn't. Most insurances, I'm not sure if it covers it, because my insurance at that time didn't cover it. So guys, just make sure please that you check your boilers if you're doing any kind of deals. So that's number one. That was quite daunting, that was quite stressful during the period of the time it was winter. And as a landlord, yes, we can be ruthless, but I think as a landlord, you also need to have a bit of empathy towards your tenants. Put yourself in their situation. Some landlord wouldn't care. They would just, you know what, they're renting. As long as money comes, even if they get cold water, they can boil water in the kettle or improvise. But I think as landlord, there's good landlord also, and there's bad landlords. And I think the good landlords are those who have empathy. They can sympathize with their tenants and they can understand the struggle the tenants are going through, because my tenant struggle is my struggle. That's how I see it. Whenever my tenants are going through something in especially which involves the property, then automatically involves me. So their struggle is my struggle, and I will do anything. I'll go the extra miles to make sure that they stay in the house. It's nice, they have a lovely stay, they're safe, and everything is running smoothly. So that's one of the challenges which I had to go through. And the second challenge is, guys, there's a quote, I'm not sure who's quoted this quote, but somebody said no tenant is better than a bad tenant. Yes. And it's quote that's been, some people have been saying this over and over and over. Some people, they'll rather have a house because the house is empty. They will look for any tenants to put in the house to fill the space so they can have money, financial freedom or passive income. But guys, I'm telling you, that's not the way. I've experimented it red-handed, and I'm telling you guys, during those times, I would have rather have no tenants rather than have a tenant that will come and literally mash up your house. You don't want that. Believe me, it's a nightmare. So I think for me, that's, if there's any challenges that people might face, that's on top. Number one, this was the worst challenges ever, amongst other challenges. But for me, this is one of the toughest challenges when you have a tenant, and especially nowadays with all these sections, tenants' rights, government protecting the tenants. It's difficult. You can't even get rid of them easily like that anymore as before. So guys, please, not just guys, ladies and gentlemen, or nowadays, you have to be politically correct with this non-binary. You can't even say ladies and gentlemen anymore. So guys, anyway, pupils, as I was saying, be mindful when you do your research. Just make sure you're very, very mindful. You're screening, make sure you screen your tenants properly. Interview them, bring them through an interview, speak to them. Because for me, with all my tenants, when I advertise, number one, when I advertise in Spare Room or any advertisement platform regarding properties, I make sure I'm very specific with what I'm looking for. Cleanliness is on top of the list. I make sure when I put the kind of tenant I want, when it comes to cleanliness, I put it in capital, in bold, so they can see this is who I'm looking for. So if you're not a clean person, person who's very, has good hygiene, don't even look at this page. So I make sure I write it and I present it in a way that I'm only looking for people who are serious and who are clean. If you're dirty, I ain't interested. Sorry guys, I'm not trying to be discriminating, but yes, in a way I am discriminating, because who likes dirty people? Nobody does. So yes, when you're advertising, just make sure you're very specific with what you're looking for, because there's a lot of people, there's millions of people out there looking for rooms. There's drug dealers, there is people with all kind of issues, even killers, you don't know. So just make sure, especially if you don't have a management company, you're doing it individually. Like me, I do all this myself, all the hands work. I like to be active, I like to be proactive. So rather than giving it to a management company to do everything, and I'm lazy at home, just I like to be proactive, and I like to give myself challenges. That's how that's how I function anyway. Otherwise I'll be bored as hell. Yeah, so make sure you do the screening properly. What I tend to do is make sure I'm very specific with what I'm looking for. And even when people come to view the house, so I've already minimized the kind of people I'm looking for, in terms of, when I put the description on spare room, those who are not clean, who are not serious, who don't work already. Because for me, with my properties, I always go for young professionals. So you have to be working, you have to be some sort of profession. Because at the end of the day, I've had previous issues with people who are not working, depending on benefits. There's landlords who go for those people, but I'm not those kind of people because I've had a lot of issues with that in the past. So I make sure in my adverts, when I'm advertising, I include that you have to be a young professional, not just young, old, whoever, but you have to have some sort of profession that you have some income coming in. And also cleanliness. Those are the two major things. And when those people come to view the house, I will sit down with them for at least 10-15 minutes, not interview them, but have an interaction with them. Because when you interview, you don't see the true nature of the person. Because the person, once you know your interview, you're trying to show you the best side of you. So I'll just conversate with them, have an interaction, and through that interaction, you will learn a lot, about the individual, a lot about you learn about their personality, their character. So it's always good to always have that initial talk before any contract signing or anything like that. So that's one of the major thing, which I will always advise people, make sure that's one of the priorities. So bad tenants, guys, I've had a nightmare through this. It's not all bad, because at the end of the day, I don't want people out there to think property is difficult because they won't be able to manage tenants. There's always going to be bad tenants. Guys, I've had about 15 tenants with my property investments, and only 2 turned out to be bad that I can think of. Yeah, only 2. So, out of the 15, 13 have actually been amazing tenants, like amazing. I wouldn't ask for anything else. But 2 have been bad. So, when you do the maths and you do the ratio, it's not bad. It's not, you can manage the 2. And if you can't manage them, get a management company. They will manage it, but I like to be hands-on. So I'm gonna go through some of the things. As I'm sure you can see, guys, from the pictures I've just shown you guys from one of the tenants which I had in my property, having no tenant is better than having a tenant. Because trying to get rid of the tenant, obviously, because when you're looking at the legalities and everything, it's not quite easy. Which eventually I got rid of all the bad tenants, but it's not a nightmare that I would want, or I would wish for one person to go through, because it can be quite daunting. So yeah, it just depends on how active you are. If you're somebody, you want to keep all the profit, you don't want to share your money, giving it to property management to to manage, which I was quite greedy. I was handling everything myself, all the tenants myself. However, I managed to come to a sort of an arrangement. My partner, she's somebody who's quite, she's very strong when it comes to like admin. She's very organized, way more organized than me, and she knows how to handle this thing, and she's done psychology, so she knows how to handle people of such behavior who has personal hygiene issues and hygiene, just bad tenants. She's good at handling those kind of people. So rather than paying the management company salaries, the same salary I was gonna give them, I'm giving her to manage my properties. So she's now taking full control of all my tenants. She's managing all the tenants. I am completely hands off. She quite enjoys it, because she's like me. She likes to be active. But however, how I like to be active is different from her. She's more hands-on in terms of managing people. Obviously coming from a psychology background, or I'm in a psychology education, that which kind of helps her as well on how to manage people's behaviors. And she understands more into people's the nature of people's behaviors and personalities. So she's taking control, completely full control. She's managing it for me. She's doing a good job so far. So yeah, that's how I manage to solve my problem, and still make the money run around the family and not giving it to another management company. So it works for me, and if it works for me, I'm sure it can work for somebody out there. So yeah, that's how I managed to solve my problem when it comes to bad tenants. Got rid of them, and now my partner is managing it. She also checks on them all the time. She always sending messages if a tenant needs to move out. She does the advertisement for me. She puts it online. She shows everything. So that's how I managed to solve my problem, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's not easy having property. It's not it's simple, just depending on what strategies you're using. If you want to be completely hands-on on everything, then there are some challenges that comes with it, which you have to be ready to face when it comes. But however, there is an option to be completely hands-off and give it to a management company to manage, which I have done. And yeah, everything is going perfect. So hope you guys have a lovely day. Make sure you stay safe, stay clean, stay away from coronavirus, and I'll see you soon. Yes, take care. Peace out.